Today I want to share one of those songs that peels back something inside us layer by layer until you realize what's really underneath. This is Onion Skin by Boom Crash Opera. Now, I think I've probably heard this song differently at different points in my life, but what's showing up for me now is something that I didn't fully understand when I was younger. Something about what we hide and what happens when those layers start to thin. I'm Lucinda, and welcome to The Outsider Within, a space for honest conversations about the experience of being different. And today we're exploring Onion Skin by Melbourne band Boom Crash Opera. I would have first heard Boom Crash Opera on the radio while I was growing up, while I was a teenager. And I would have seen their videos on Rage and MTV, and unfortunately, they weren't a band I got to see live. I grew up in Sydney and they were in Melbourne. And apart from that, when they did come to Sydney, being a big band that was charting, it meant there were loads of people at the venues. And I'm definitely a small venue kind of person. Around that time, my bass teacher taught me one of their songs, Great Wall, in some of our lessons, and it was really great to dive into the playing style, the notes, the sounds, what was happening, and really how it came together. It was a fantastic experience. Then sometime later, I rediscovered them and really embraced their incredible sounds and the amazing voice of Dale Ryder, their singer. And something I found incredibly intriguing is that the singer, Dale Ryder, is incredibly shy. And watching their videos and hearing him sing, it really isn't evident at all. And I pondered that for a bit, and I figure part of that is that the music really would have buoyed him. Do you think music can sometimes let us become the version of ourselves we find hardest to access in real life? I think music has the potential to let us access parts of us that perhaps we hide, that perhaps we're not comfortable or confident with, and certainly helps to access parts of our body, whether it just be through the vibrations and the experience of the sound, or even for people who dance, just being able to dance and get into it in that way. In terms of music allowing us to become a version of ourselves that we find harder to access in real life. Never having been a performer, I don't know. But when I think about what I know of Dale Ryder, certainly what I know about Prince, David Bowie, a lot of singers, and Robert Smith, even from The Cure, a lot of these singers take on a persona to go live, to go out on stage. Another person that comes to mind is Chrissy Amphlett from the Divinals. She's incredibly shy as well, but seeing her on stage, you'd have no idea that that was really the case. It was fascinating once I saw her being interviewed with Michael Hutchence from INXS, and just watching how, I guess, socially awkward, uncomfortable she was really interesting because I'd seen what she's like on stage, and it was just such a different human. So yes, I do think music gives us it becomes almost like a portal where we could take on a persona if we were performers, take on a persona, step out on stage and perform, and take on a different character, be someone other than who we are, or open out and reveal parts of ourselves that we don't often show people in our day-to-day or private lives. Let's go back to the song though. Onion Skin was released in 1989, and their bassist, Richard Pleasance, just played the most amazing bass lines. But something that makes me really sad about their recordings is the bass is so low in the mix, it's sometimes hard to hear. Even for someone like me who's tuned into it, and that's really what I want to hear, it can be hard to pick up in the mix. The other thing that I really love about Boom Crash Opera, which you probably will have guessed, apart from the bass, is always the energy. The energy, there's just so much energy in there. I'm just thinking about like Energizer Bunnies, the little battery bunnies that are just charging around. There's so much energy packed into their songs, packed into their music. So yeah, it's quite an invigorating experience listening to them. Do you find the same thing? Is there music that you find really invigorating? Let me know in the comments. So when you listen to music from a different time, are you hearing the song or dropping into the version of you who first heard it? That's an interesting question. I don't feel that I drop into the person that I was. I don't think I lose who I've grown into and who I've embraced. I think I time travel as me, who I am now, back to a certain time period, perhaps where I've seen the band live. Maybe, probably not their first listening, but certainly music transports me, just like smells do. So essential oils are a big part of my life. Music also just takes me somewhere completely different, often back in time, often to just other worlds, like fiction as well. So reading books and getting lost in other worlds, I do enjoy that. So the meaning of onion skin, I'm going to look a lot at the lyrics of this song because to me that's one of the biggest draw cards are the lyrics and I guess maybe the ambiguity within them. That said, on that ambiguity, I think that allows for interpretation, and I want to ensure that you feel invited to, encouraged, and welcome to interpret the lyrics in any way that feels right for you. This is just my version at this point in time. And as I said earlier, a lot of the times I've come back to this song, I'm understanding and hearing different things in it. So at this point in time, this is my interpretation of the lyrics of the song. I think even just the name, starting with onion skin, that brown or red or white, papery, really fragile skin. It sort of falls off easily. It it can get stuck if you go to pick it up with wet hands. It makes a bit of a mess. It breaks down. But it also serves as a protection to the inner layers of the onion. It is, although it's thin, it's actually quite tough and tough in a different way to what the inside is. Like it is certainly dried out and fragile. The There's a lyric in the song about walking around with your heart caved in. And for me, that's almost just like an onion skin that's fallen off. It doesn't have the inside. You've just got the skin. It's like an empty eggshell kind of concept. So you're walking around with your heart caved in. There's just this coating on the outside. And that's all there is. It's a protection. It's like a raincoat. It's keeping you safe and it's not allowing you, or it's preventing other people, it's not allowing others to see the pain inside your heart. Another way I thought about this too was if you are only the onion skin, and it's not just serving as a protection, but if you are hollowed out and there's nothing in the interior, then it could be about lacking substance or being really shallow. Like there's nothing to you. It's just the facade. It's just the outer. So that's part of why I chose this song today, just exploring this idea because I know as an autistic ADHD, so an AuDHDer, and a late diagnosed AuDHDer who is extremely good at masking. Apparently, I think it was the 99th percentile of autistic people is my level of masking. So only realizing recently that I do this, realizing what a big part it's been in my life, trying to recognize where I do it and to break those habits so that I can just be me without that. That's part of why this really appealed because I feel that the onion skin, whether it be the protection, stopping people seeing inside or just guarding who you are, how you're feeling, that could be really equated strongly with masking and camouflaging. So yeah, just a thought, still pondering these ideas and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it too. Have you ever felt like you were functioning on the outside while something very different was happening underneath? I would say a lot. There's an analogy that I really, really think captures me beautifully, especially when there's high stress situations, like, when you're in the workplace and you have to perform under pressure, not singing the song, not lip syncing it either, but when you have to work in extremely stressful situations or be in life in in life to be in extremely stressful situations as well. I do believe that I look like I'm holding it all together. I'm like a swan gliding on the water, looking unruffled and elegant. Not that I feel like I'm elegant, but a swan's elegant. But under the water, the feet are doing this, and there's this flurry of activity. And for me, that level of under the water is like my insides. So, although there might be a flurry of activity, high levels of stress, a lot of confusion, a lot of thoughts and whirling around, a lot of feelings, and all of that happening on the inside, it often doesn't make it to the outside. And something I've noticed over the years is that I can feel an intensely strong feeling, and I've gone back to people later and apologized for feeling that way in their presence and been very surprised in every instance that they hadn't noticed it at all. And it's like you feel these huge things on the inside, and maybe just a little bit of it comes out. So, yeah, it's just really interesting. I mean, that's certainly not a deliberate thing. I mean, I try to contain my feelings to deal with and not put them on other people, but just the fact that people don't even notice it, it just goes to show how much we experience, how rich our inner worlds are, and also the importance of checking in with people. Are you okay? How are you feeling? Are you all right? Simple things like that. And just segueing completely since we are, I remember there was a workshop I did once. I might have mentioned it once before actually. I did a workshop, and because it was in Canberra, my parents lived in Canberra at the time, they came along, which was great. I loved having them come to things. And at the end of the event, the one of the participants came over and she said, "Your mother made my day." And I'm like, "Wow, really cool. What did she do?" And her answer, oh my gosh, it just proves a big point to me. But what Mum had done was she'd smiled at her. Like that simple act of kindness that took nothing for Mum to do. She had no idea what's going on, but just extending some kindness towards another person can be something that makes someone's day. So I think the more we do of that in our lives, the better. Anyway, completely off topic, but that's, I think, part of the joy of exploring a song together, and playing with the lyrics and the different understandings of them, is we get to explore other ideas as well. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you think about all these different ideas that pop into my mind while I'm chatting here, and share your opinions. You are more than welcome. Another lyric from this song: your skin flies off and the teardrops fall. Now, I love that because when you're cutting an onion, when you're cooking, you are almost guaranteed to have the tears. And I've tried so many things over the years. I remember once somebody said to hold a matchstick with the lighting end, not in your mouth, just the wooden end in your mouth. Hold that between your teeth when you're cutting. I've heard so many things, tried so many things. Nothing actually works. There's something about onions that make the tears fall. And I think too, taking it away just from the onion and back to that sort of that hollowed out, the onion skin being the protection, carrying such deep sadness, to be have your heart caved in. To me, that just screams intense sadness, intense emotional pain. And yeah, I think the analogy of the onion and the skin falling away and just the tears finally coming out, which can be like a bit like a pressure release valve, just to get some of it out and stop it consuming you. Um, yeah, it's quite an intense one, really. Then there's this awesome line: you might see the trap, but you still fall in. And straight away, when I was reading these lyrics, my mind jumped to a story a friend of mine told me, which turns out it's a poem called Autobiography in 5 chapters. And I'll pop a link for it in the description for you so you can read it. But basically, it talks about, I'll read the first chapter and then I'll give you a sort of summary of it. I walk down the street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I am hopeless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. This is chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe it. I'm in the same place. but it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. I think I'm going to read the whole lot to you. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street. This is a poem by Portia Nelson, and I think there's an enormous amount of life in that story. You know, when something happens, there can be that tendency to go into blame. It's not my fault, it's somebody else's fault. It happened to me, I was the victim of it. But it's not until you start waking up, opening your eyes, taking responsibility, that you can recognize the habits that you've got or the routines that you're in that aren't helping or supporting you. And it's only from there that you can choose a different path. You can choose not to walk down that street anymore. You can choose a brand new way. And it's up to each of us to find our own ways in life, our own right paths, our own best ways. I don't think there's one right way for everyone. I think we all have our own paths to find and to follow and to traverse in life and make our mistakes and learn our lessons and grow when we are ready. And the next line I wanted to share with you really sounds to me like the type of advice we're given when we're little, as we learn to mask, as we learn to camouflage. Keep your chin up and choke back the tears. It's like, it is. It's pretending that it doesn't matter. Keep your chin up. Stop crying. Hold it in. Keep it to yourself. Don't experience that. Pretend it isn't real. So it's all about stuffing those emotions down inside, which we know isn't a helpful way to deal with them. The next line I want to share with you, it just gets me, and especially the way he sings it. But this here will make you cry. I'm being skinned alive, but I've got layers to burn. You'll never get to my heart at all. And it's just like he's buried, of the character he's writing about, buried his heart so deep inside and made it so inaccessible. Put the walls up to make sure that no one can get in. And you can skin me alive, you can burn me alive, you can do what you want, but you won't get to my heart. It's so protected. And to me, the only times you ever protect your heart like that is when you have experienced enormous pain, when you've had your trust betrayed, when you've had your heart shattered. That's the only time you protect your heart like that. So, yeah, really deeply sad lyric, that one. I think, brings up emotions for me too. Sitting with this song, I see the onion skin analogy as being somewhat like a tree building layers over time, and we end up with more and more. But I do wonder how they serve us. How do these layers around our heart, our core, serve us? And is there a cost involved? And if so, what is that cost? It's time for us to listen to this song. I can't wait to share it with you. I'm sorry to make you wait for so long in the video to get there, but it's well worth it. And please make sure you listen to the song in its entirety. I've got the link below. These guys are awesome, I promise. They're not a punk band, but there's something about these guys where I think they do something that punk does so well. It's high energy. If you dance, you dance. You can really get into the music. And I think what happens when music captures you like that is lyrics get stuck inside you. You'll be singing along, and it'll be later that you understand what it's about. So it's almost a way of exploring unpalatable or difficult concepts in a way that's easier to access. It makes it more accessible to people. So I do wonder about that. The other sort of aha moment I had during the song was the fact that it's, you're walking around with your heart caved in, the teardrops, your skin flies off and the teardrops fall, things like that. It sounds like it's about describing somebody else. But that brilliant lyric that, oh my gosh, he just delivers it so gorgeously. This here will make you cry, I'm being skinned alive, but I've got layers to burn. You'll never get to my heart at all. It becomes about him or the character he's portraying in the song. So it sort of goes from sort of talking about someone to talking from the heart. So maybe that outer description is yet another layer of the onion skin. If I talk about somebody else, it's like projecting my stuff onto somebody else. You don't know it's about me, and then I end up revealing that because that's my truth. So yeah, really, really interesting song. Even the graphic here at the end of the song looks like it's a cut tree trunk. Not even so much an onion. It looks a lot like a tree to me. So anyway, interesting song by all means. And vocally, and I wish I could understand and analyze lyrics in the way that there's a YouTube person that I adore, Elizabeth Zaroff from The Charismatic Voice, and she is brilliant at analysis of vocal styles, techniques, production, etc. But I would love her to hear this song and make comment on it. I have no skills in this area, so I'm just going to say what I'm thinking, which is just like the layperson's experience. The range of vocals, the way he delivers things so beautifully. And then there's that bit which I pointed out during it where it's almost like he's being percussive with the other instruments. He's going, ah, 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 ah. Yeah, and obviously singing it, making it nice key and sounding better than mine did. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just, he's using his voice in such an interesting way that I find it really fascinating. Anyway, as I said before, please make sure you listen to the song in its entirety. I've got the link below. I shared earlier that this song is about revealing what's underneath it all. And I wanted to ask you, is there a song that has helped reveal a part of you? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for joining me on The Outsider Within. Next time, I'll be sharing a song about what happens when the layers fall away and you find yourself seen as you are. May you continue to own what supports you, even when it looks different.